She was a British heiress, Jeffrey Epstein's ticket to high society, and according to a grand jury, his madam. Victims say it wasn't just him. Lawyers say her indictment is just the beginning.
The arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell reopens many, if not all, of those doors.
An 11-year-old boy, Florida's youngest known death from COVID-19. What it was about this boy that allowed the virus to target and kill him.
He couldn't even talk without getting out of breath.
His father, one of 75 COVID-19 cases at a Jupiter rehab center, and the one death, his last breaths, pleading for his son to help.
It breaks my heart that there could be someone in there right now suffocating, basically, because my dad literally was suffocating.
That leaves 74 with COVID-19 still alive, and this son wondering what's going on behind closed doors. CBS 12 News at 11 starts right now. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. The Epstein case appears to be far from over. Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend and alleged madam, is on her way to a jail cell in New York City tonight. And Jim, we're learning some very interesting things about this woman tonight.
Yeah, we sure are, Liz. It turns out the FBI picked her up early this morning. She's now facing charges for helping Epstein to sexually traffic young teenage girls. And this is where they found her. She was hiding out in a remote part of New Hampshire in this luxury home, which she didn't know FBI was watching her every move. Daily Mail is also reporting that apparently Epstein had dumped some $20 million into her bank account just before his death. CBS 12's Jay O'Brien joining us in the studio tonight with much more. Jay?
Jim, this all started with Epstein's arrest just a few days shy of a year ago. Epstein, of course, later took his own life in a New York City jail cell. It was after that many suspected, but few could prove, that the feds were looking into Epstein's associates like Ghislaine Maxwell. So today was the first and truly most solid evidence we've seen since Epstein's death that there was a larger federal investigation looking at those potential associates of a billionaire who had high-profile people in his orbit. When the Palm Beach police searched Jeffrey Epstein's home in 2005, they found this, a photo appearing to be of his then-girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell. That wasn't surprising. Maxwell and Epstein were reportedly inseparable. But it was Maxwell, survivors claim, who was also at the center of grooming young girls for Epstein to abuse. A grand jury now alleging Maxwell encouraged minor victims to provide massages to Epstein, including sexualized massages during which a minor victim would be fully or partially nude.
Maxwell was at Epstein's side.
Jack Scarola, a lawyer who's represented Epstein's survivors, calls Maxwell the tip of the iceberg. Many have long alleged a network of accomplices, and Scarola believes Maxwell's indictment won't be the last.
The arrest of Ghislaine Maxwell reopens many, if not all, of those doors.
A British heiress, it was Maxwell who was said to be Epstein's ticket into high society, with friends including then private citizen Donald Trump, Prince Andrew, and former President Bill Clinton, who reportedly took more than 24 trips on Epstein's private jet between 2001 and 2003. But in private, survivors recount Epstein abusing underage girls as young as 14 years old, and prosecutors now allege Maxwell played a critical role.
In some cases, Maxwell participated in the abuse herself.
We reached out to Ghislaine Maxwell's attorneys about these allegations, and we haven't heard back. Lawyers for Epstein survivors like Jack Scarola are encouraging anyone who was abused to come forward. I'm Jay O'Brien, CBS 12 News.
All right, thanks for that, Jay. Well, $600 million from Epstein's estate will be paid to his victims, and it's estimated there could be hundreds of women around the world who were sexually abused by Epstein over the past 20 years. Victims have 9 months to file a claim and still remain anonymous.
Many of his victims came from Royal Palm Beach High School in Palm Beach County, and prosecutors called the school a recruiting ground for his victims. One of the documents pulled from his home says he sent a bouquet of roses to a young girl at the school.
Palm Beach County is also where Epstein avoided sex trafficking charges back in 2008. The end result, the infamous sweetheart deal the county state attorney's office put together. Epstein was allowed to plead guilty to a simple prostitution charge and was given just 13 months in jail instead of life behind bars.
Following that sweetheart plea deal, there was a lot of fallout, especially with the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office in handling his time behind bars. It caused the Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office to pull the plug on the controversial work release program. That program came under fire after allegations that Epstein engaged in improper sexual activity while enrolled in the work release program.
He would be walking around, you know, as he normally would do in a house probably. He would just be walking around.
Naked?
Yes, ma'am, naked.
And if any other inmate did that, what would happen?
There would be repercussions if an inmate did that. He would be on lockdown.
According to our news partners at the Sun Sentinel, Epstein's work release program was modified in 2009 for some reason, letting him leave the Palm Beach County Jail 7 days a week for up to 16 hours a day.
Well, later it was revealed that he should never have been given that privilege. In documents obtained by our I-team, a federal prosecutor sent a letter to the sheriff's office warning them that the company Epstein claims to have been working for turned out to be a bogus foundation set up just before he went to jail. Even the person who was supposed to be keeping track of Epstein during his work release turned out to live in another state.
Our other top story tonight, Florida's biggest attraction is closed. Martin County, the latest to announce its beaches will be off limits for the holiday weekend. They'll reopen Monday at 7 a.m. And in just 1 hour, Palm Beach County beaches will also be closed to the public. No one will be allowed on the sand in Palm Beach County or on the Treasure Coast, except for Indian River County. Those beaches are still open. However, in Vero Beach, it will be restricted to residents only. St. Lucie County beaches will close tomorrow through Sunday. Beach parking lots will also be closed. A county spokesperson says law enforcement will be patrolling the barrier islands and will give citations to anyone illegally parked. Also in effect right now, the town of Palm Beach is under a curfew. That curfew is from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. and will continue until further notice.
Mask mandates. Martin County now deciding against requiring people to wear a mask in public, but the meeting got a little heated today as commissioners and residents debated that topic. At one point, they had to just take a break to allow everyone to just cool down.
I was in Walmart the other night during the daylight hours. There were 5 young gentlemen with hoodies, sunglasses, and masks. There was no way in a million years I would have been able to identify them if they would have come at me.
Again, commissioners voted against the mask mandate, but they are coming back next week to discuss the issue again. Meanwhile, St. Lucie County commissioners have issued a mandatory mask order for employees. That means people working in the restaurant industry, grocery stores, and any business open to the public. They must wear a mask. Violators will face a $35 fine for their first offense. And Palm Beach County facing a lawsuit over its new mask mandate. Opponents are suing the county, arguing it violates the free speech rights. Lawyers for 4 plaintiffs are making that argument that wearing a mask is a medical decision and people should be able to make that decision for themselves. County says it's not able to comment on pending litigation.
A healthcare facility in Jupiter is now becoming a new hotspot for COVID-19. 75 residents testing positive and employees. And now tonight, a local man is demanding action after his father died from the virus after coming down with it at the facility.
He says his father needed to rush to the hospital, but claims that the center didn't take him seriously. CBS 12's Lily Ortiz has more on that story.
Christopher Saniciero says he knew his father was not okay when he called him, begging him to take him to a hospital because he couldn't breathe. And when he finally got a hold of someone, it was already too little, too late. And now Christopher is shedding some light on what's possibly happening behind these closed doors. Christopher Saniciero,
I get sick to my stomach, honestly. I'm so hurt about it.
Is struggling to understand how the one place he trusted to look after his father failed him.
He couldn't even talk without getting out of breath.
Last week, 75-year-old John Saniciero tested positive for coronavirus after a round of tests at Jupiter Rehabilitation and Healthcare Center. His son says the center assured his family that he would be okay because he wasn't showing any symptoms.
By Friday, it was really to the point where he was calling me, asking for help to get the nurses to come in and help him. And by Saturday, he was passed away. It breaks my heart that there could be someone in there right now suffocating, basically, because my dad literally was suffocating.
Right now, a total of 75 patients and staff are positive at the Jupiter Rehab Center, and they just confirmed one death of a patient after being transferred, his father. As he deals with his father's unexpected death, Santaciro plans to take legal action because he feels staff members overlooked his father's health and breathing issues. He worries other patients are also being neglected.
This could be a situation where they're just looking strictly at profit over the safety of the residents and basically like holding them captive there when they're acutely ill.
The center tells CBS 12 News the communication with family members is strong as they continue to do mass COVID-19 testing. The facility is currently creating a task force to make sure that loved ones are updated in real time.
We have to give a voice to these people that are in there that don't have the voice.
We're learning employees come and go, and they are screened before and after shifts. And as for those patients and staff members with coronavirus, they are getting treatment at a separate area of the center, getting care from trained team members. In Jupiter, I'm Lily Ortiz, CBS 12 News.
We're following breaking news tonight. The U.S. breaks another record in coronavirus cases. The difference from 2 weeks ago to now coming up.
The beginning of school right around the corner, but what are teachers thinking about getting back into the classroom?
I'm John Evanson with COVID-19 cases spiking here in Florida and in other parts of the country. Is the NFL and college football in trouble? A local medical expert reveals the sobering reality coming up in sports.
I'm tracking our next weather maker, the impact it will have beyond the holiday weekend, coming up.
CBS 12 News, the one to turn to. Live with Liz Carantes, Jim Grimes, Storm Track Weather with Chief Meteorologist Aaron Christensen, and Sports with John Evanson. CBS 12 News continues.
We're following breaking news tonight. The United States hit a new global record, reporting 55,000 new coronavirus cases in one single day. Just 2 weeks ago, the United States was reporting about 22,000 cases a day. And here in Florida, an 11-year-old boy in Miami-Dade County died from COVID-19, making him the youngest known fatality in our state. A station in Miami reports that little boy was a special needs child and faced many illnesses. Florida reported the biggest increase of any state so far, recording over 10,000 new cases in a single day. While the state did receive about 20,000 more test results today compared to yesterday, the positivity rate of those new tests remains close to 15%, where it has been for days. We spoke to medical experts about these trends. Some are now calling for a statewide mask mandate and a return to strict social distancing in order to get Florida back on track.
I'm not panicked, but it's disappointing that the numbers after they did make a nice dip down and leveled out started to rise. That's concerning.
Governor DeSantis has previously said he does not support the idea of a mask mandate statewide and thinks it should be a recommendation.
Vice President Mike Pence and Governor Ron DeSantis held a joint news conference in Tampa to address Florida's rise in coronavirus cases. Those two urging the public, especially young people who are increasingly catching the virus, to make sure you're wearing masks and stay safe over the 4th of July weekend. Mr. Pence says people should take responsibility for themselves and their families. They also say Florida is as prepared as ever.
We'll do what other parts of the country have done. We'll flatten the curve. We'll slow the spread. We'll save lives along the way.
In Palm Beach County, Mayor Dave Kerner also gave a grim prediction. He says the county will surpass 15,000 cases by tomorrow.
The beginning of school is right around the corner, and Palm Beach County school teachers are preparing for a year unlike any other. But with the start of school just over a month away, so much is still uncertain. It's not clear when teachers will return to the classroom or if they will even want to come in August. As coronavirus numbers continue to surge, Union President Justin Katz says going back online seems like the only safe option.
These are scary numbers already, and when you start adding hundreds of thousands of people back into physical buildings across the district that affect hundreds of thousands of families and their family members, I would rather be overly cautious about an on-campus return than regret that if bad things come to pass.
In a survey sent to Palm Beach County parents, most say they want the school year delayed, but the union says that is unnecessary since the district is already improving the digital learning experience. School district officials are planning to send out additional surveys since the feedback gathered before the recent surge in cases. We're expecting to hear from an official plan by the start of the school year by July 15th.
To combat the spread of the coronavirus, Florida, of course, shut down bars, allowed them to reopen, but then shut them down again. General manager at this Lake Worth Beach bar says it's been difficult. Harry's Banana Farm Bar has been in business for 66 years. He thinks that he should be allowed to reopen as long as they observe the CDC's guidelines.
Lake Worth Beach is one of the hot spots in terms of the number of COVID cases. So how can you justify reopening this bar?
I don't have to justify it. When we reopened, I took all these bar stools out. I had one every 6 feet. I had a piece of tape here. I had a piece of tape here. Took all the tables, all the chairs out, everything. Everybody was outside, and it was fine.
General manager says that as long as he tells customers to wear masks and stay at least 6 feet apart, he doesn't see a reason the state shouldn't allow them to reopen. Well, tonight, Florida's Department of Transportation Secretary is calling for a review of bridge inspection procedures statewide. This after cracks and severe corrosion were recently found at the Roosevelt Bridge in Stewart. Last week, 4 lanes on the northbound Roosevelt Bridge reopened to car traffic after supports were installed. Meantime, parts of Dixie Highway that closed are expected to reopen tomorrow morning.
All right, well, the holiday weekend has begun, and I'm sure a lot of people, even though they can't go to the beach, they probably want to spend some time outside doing other things.
You know, Liz, there will be some pretty decent times for being outdoors and some not so great times for being outdoors. Now, we're still going to be hot, very similar to what we've had the past couple of days, with one significant difference. We will see an uptick in our chance for rain, which will help to cool things down once those temperatures warm up. I know a lot of folks do want the rain, but maybe not on the holiday. Here's what we're looking at. There's a low 30% chance for showers and storms tomorrow, 40% Saturday, and then it increases to a 50% chance on Sunday as well as Monday. So what's the reason for this increased chance for rain? Well, it's a number of factors. Actually, we've got this front that is pushing through the southeast. It's going to stall there and then eventually just sort of stall across central Florida as we head through early next week. That's going to do a couple of things. First of all, it's going to trap a lot of that Gulf moisture and keep it right along the Gulf Coast, but it's also going to help to trigger some showers and storms as it pushes its way through Florida early next week. At the same time, we see an area of low pressure developing just over the panhandle, and this is really going to tap into all of that tropical moisture that had been trapped over the Gulf and push it in our direction. So we are expecting some downpours this holiday weekend, numerous thunderstorms that will continue through early next work week. So how much rain to come? Well, our European and American models are kind of coming into better agreement here. 1 to 2 inches worth of rain, mainly across the northern portion of our viewing area, but you can see the heaviest of rain definitely staying well to our north. The other thing that I'm concerned with is whether or not this developing area of low pressure is going to pick up any tropical characteristics. Could become a depression or even a storm. Now, where do we potentially watch for that to happen? Well, it could happen in the Gulf, or once it pushes through Florida and reemerges in the western Atlantic, it could develop into a tropical depression or storm there as well. And we know that both of these areas are hotbeds for tropical development during the month of July. So we're going to keep watching that developing low very, very carefully. In the meantime, we're also watching the mercury climb. We were closer to the record today than we were the norm. We topped out at 96 at Palm Beach International. The record, though, at 100 does stay safe in the almanac, set back in 1927. We haven't cooled down a whole lot. We're at 83 in West Palm, 80 in Boca, Stewart at 82, Fort Pierce at 78. And we're really not getting much relief during the evening and overnight hours either. In fact, our temperature struggling to drop below that 80-degree mark again tonight into early tomorrow morning. 79 degrees our low is 5 degrees above average. And then that warm start just kind of gives us a running start into those temperatures in the 90s by the afternoon. 93 Lantana, 92 Delray Beach, 94 Juno Beach, as well as for Jupiter. 95 in Wellington, the Treasure Coast at 94 from Vero down through Port St. Lucie, and closer to Lake Okeechobee, 93 for Indiantown, 95 Belle Glade, and 92 for Okeechobee. So our chance for rain tomorrow is pretty slim, 30%. We're seeing most of that on the Treasure Coast. So do keep that in mind from Sebastian all the way down through Port St. Lucie, right around 3 to 7 o'clock in the afternoon and evening. Here's a look at the 7-day forecast for you now, or at least those temperatures at 90 degrees or warmer for a good majority of the country over the next 7 days. Over 245 million Americans will be sweating it out with us. Here's that 7-day forecast now. Lowest we're going to get for that high is 92, and that's on Sunday and Monday.
All right, thanks for that, Aaron. Drone 12 flying over Blue Heron Bridge. We'll be right back.
Hubbard Radio Stations, proud sponsors of the CBS 12 News Network, the one to turn to. Florida Honda Sports Report.
Well, NFL and college football had the biggest runways, so to speak, since COVID-19 shut sports down back in March. But as cases of coronavirus are now spiking in Florida and other parts of the country, some medical experts are getting concerned. Is football in trouble?
With so many teams and so many cities, it just becomes a very unlikely thing to take place.
The NFL has already reportedly shortened its preseason by 2 games, unlike the NBA and MLS Orlando bubbles. And the NHL's hub cities, the NFL still plans to travel to home stadiums, playing one of the most physical sports during a global pandemic.
To be traveling from city to city with these large entourages, it becomes a very risky proposition. The risk is less related to playing the game and more related to the preparation to put on the spectacle.
The enhanced example is college football, where players who aren't being paid are also living the campus life and going to class.
If one of these guys becomes positive, everybody that person was in contact while he or she was not wearing a mask needs to be quarantined. Let's say the defensive section of the team needs to be quarantined. Okay, so we're going to play a game without the defenders of the quarterback. Okay, let's do it. Let's see who's going to win the game.
At a minimum, teams will have to test their players and staff 2 or 3 times a week to minimize the risk of an outbreak.
Well, meanwhile, the pressure is on the Washington Redskins to change their name like never before. The NFL's official game day supplier, Nike, has pulled all Redskins apparel for purchase from its website, reportedly one of 3 companies being asked by investors to sever ties with the Redskins unless the team changes its name. FedEx has also formally requested the Redskins change their name. Week 4 of the PGA Tour restart already. Rocket Mortgage Classic in Detroit City. There's Jupiter resident Ricky Fowler. 7 birdies today. He's 2 back of the leader Doc Redman and Scott Stallings. You can watch the Rocket Mortgage Challenge Saturday and Sunday starting at 3 p.m. right here on CBS 12.
Well, the driest day over the holiday weekend would be tomorrow, if you count tomorrow into the weekend. 30% chance you'll need the umbrella. The wettest day, well, that's a toss-up. Sunday, Monday, 50% chance for showers and storms.
Well, a reminder, the South Florida beaches are closed this holiday weekend. Martin County beaches are already closed. Palm Beach County beaches will be shutting down at midnight.
And Vero Beach, it is staying open, but only for residents in that area. They should all be back open to the public starting next week. For a full list of when each county will be reopening its beaches, just head to our website at cbs12.com. Going to be a different 4th of July for everyone this year, that is for sure.
I know.
That's going to do it. Kiddie pool. Yes, that's right. That's going to do it. Don't forget to join Matt Lincoln, Ashley Glass for CBS 12 News this morning starting at 4:30 a.m.
Remember, the news is always on cbs12.com. Have a great night, everyone. We are back tomorrow.